Most monsters in the Witcher world are terrifying because of how they look, but a Katakan is frightening for a different reason. Because you could live beside one for years and never realize you are standing next to a monster. The Katakan is one of the most dangerous vampires on the continent, not because it is the strongest, but because it knows how to be a human. And today we will explore what Katakans are, how they differ from other vampires, how they hunt, why are they considered extremely dangerous, and why witchers find them so difficult to track down. The Katakan is one of the higher species of vampiric creatures. It is important to understand something. In the Witcher universe, the word vampire does not describe a single creature. There are many different types: flatters, echimaras, alps, bruxa, higher vampires. And Katakan exists somewhere between a monster and fully intelligent being. They are extremely intelligent. They are capable of living among humans, able to hide their true nature, and possess almost superhuman abilities. A Katakan can look completely human, and that is exactly what makes it so dangerous, because a Katakan does not hunt from the forest, it hunts inside human society. The vampires of the Witcher world most likely appeared after the conjunction of the spheres, meaning they came from another world, and that separates them from many relics. Vampires feel alien, not simply like monsters, but like beings whose logic and nature are fundamentally different from humanity's. Katakans demonstrate this especially well, because outwardly they can imitate humans almost perfectly, but underneath they remain predators. And sometimes it becomes noticeable in their behavior, their emotional coldness, their lack of natural human emotions, in their strange way of speaking and moving. In a human form, a Katakan is almost indistinguishable from an ordinary person. But in its true form, everything changes. Katakan appear thin, pale, with elongated limbs, long claws, huge eyes, and animalistic facial features. It is also interesting how much the Katakans resembles a bat. It is especially noticeable in its monstrous form: an elongated snout, massive ears, a thin skeletal body, sharp movements, long fingers and claws. Even the way it moves resembles a nocturnal predator, and this is not accidental. For centuries, bats have been associated with vampires in European culture. The Katakan looks like something between a human and gigantic night bat, and in the darkness, it becomes especially disturbing when all you can see are just eyes, the silhouette, and sudden movement in the shadow. Because of this, the Katakan does not feel like just another monster. It feels like a true nocturnal predator, perfectly adapted for a hunting in the darkness. But the most terrifying thing is its movement. A Katakan moves sharply, quickly, almost unnaturally. It feels as though its human appearance is nothing more just a mask. Katakans are often compared to bruxa, but there is an important difference between them. A bruxa is more emotional, more likely to toy with its victim, more focused on psychological manipulation. A Katakan is colder, more rational, more secretive. A Katakan is almost the perfect predator. It observes, analyzes, adapts, and attacks only when it is certain of the outcome. That is exactly why witchers consider Katakans especially dangerous opponents. One of the most terrifying things about Katakans is that they can live among humans for years. Some of them work, trade, socialize, and hold positions of influence. And nobody notices anything. Because a Katakan understands people. It knows how to speak, how to behave, how to hide emotions, how to pretend. And that transforms it from a simple monster into a true hidden predator. A Katakan rarely acts chaotically. It prefers isolated victims, dark streets, enclosed spaces, situations where nobody will witness the attack. In many stories, victims disappear gradually, and people do not immediately realize that the monster is operating nearby. That is why contracts involving Katakans are especially difficult, because first the witcher must prove the creature exists, find it, and determine who is hiding beneath the human disguise. Despite its intelligence, the Katakan remains a monster. It is incredibly fast, physically powerful, capable of tearing a human apart with its bare hands. In combat, a Katakan closes distance instantly, vanishes, attacks in rapid sequences, uses speed as its primary weapon. That is why ordinary people stand almost no chance against one. Even soldiers rarely understand what is happening before it's too late. One of the most famous Katakans in the games is Hubert Rake. At first glance he seems like an ordinary coroner, calm, polite, intelligent, but gradually it becomes clear he is not human. This quest perfectly demonstrates the defining characteristic of Katakans. The most dangerous monsters is not always the most obvious one. Sometimes it looks completely normal. Most monsters can be recognized immediately. A Katakan cannot. And that is what makes it so terrifying, because the fear does not come during the attack. It comes during the realization. The moment you understand, the monster was beside you the entire time, talking to you, watching you, waiting. The Witcher world constantly returns to one idea. The most dangerous creatures do not always look like monsters. The Katakan perfectly reflects that theme. It is intelligent, capable of becoming a part of society, able to understand humans better than many humans do, and yet it still remains a predator. A very few monsters are capable of hiding among humans so perfectly, because a Katakan does not emerge roaring from the forest. It sits beside you and smiles.